episode 243 or something like that of Magic the Amateuring.
It's going to be a very exciting episode because a very exciting event is coming up, and that is the Ixalan Prerelease.
There's nothing I love better than a good pre-release, not even an Oreo Blizzard with extra Oreo.
That is impressive, you guys, because Maria loves Oreo Blizzards more than basically anything.
It's true, and here's a fun fact. If you say you want an Oreo Blizzard, or any other Blizzard for that matter, and you say extra Oreo or extra blank, they will add extra into your Blizzard for 25 cents, and guess what? It's worth it.
Wow. I can't believe that you can get so basically what you're asking for is an Oreo Blizzard with Oreo.
Yeah, with Morio.
As if you're like...
High five myself for that one.
And that's been this week's podcast. I guess we'll catch you next week.
Just can't get any better than that, unfortunately. Or can it?
We can, because we're going to have Judge Rob on to explain all of the sweet new mechanics and rule changes and interesting card interactions coming your way this weekend.
Yes, Ixalan is hot off the presses, and you need to know what to do at your pre-release so you don't act the fool and play like an all-time master pro.
That's right. Do you know what I felt like a fool about today, Maria?
Sure, hit me.
I found out that there was a third Wilson brother.
I also did not know there was a third Wilson brother. And we're not talking about Wilson Phillips, the lady band. And we're not talking about Wilson, the people who make tennis rackets or whatever they make. We're talking about Owen Wilson, Luke Wilson. There's a third Wilson.
Do you know what his name is? It is Andrew Wilson.
Who knew?
He is the oldest of the Wilson brothers.
This is really incredible news that blew me away.
He is apparently someone in Idiocracy.
Yes.
And also has several smaller roles in other films.
He has a small role in the Royal Tenenbaums. We checked. And I hope you know that Magic the Amateuring is your magic-based podcast that you can go to for your news on actors like Nicolas Cage,
Tommy Lee Jones,
and now Andrew Wilson.
Only specifically those three.
Anybody else,
actors.
You're going to have to go to another podcast.
Whatever.
But those three we will tell you about.
We'll also tell you all about Magic the Gathering. I'm one of your hosts, Meghan.
And I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
We could have said that a while ago, but
we didn't. And on today's episode, as we said, Judge Rob is here to tell us all about the cool new stuff in Ixalan and how to not feel like a real dum-dum pie when you go to your pre-release. And, of course, one of our favorite times of the year is naming Cutest Card and Grossest Card.
Yep.
And Ixalan, it is your turn to be cute and or gross.
Also, dum-dum pie was a failed recipe wherein you melted a bunch of dum-dums and put them into a crust.
I was going to say gross.
It is as disgusting as it sounds.
It's like you can't even eat that. That's like hard.
I said it was a failed recipe.
Oh. Hey, Mom, you make me that dum-dum pie. It's my favorite.
You have the worst taste of all my children.
I know, but I needs me that dum-dum pie.
Why did I invent this?
Put it on my tongue, Mom. Dum-dum pie. Anyway, before we get into all that goodness, that dum-dum pie goodness, we're going to tell you thank you for being a supporter of the show if you are, in fact, a member of the Less Than 1% Club, the Supporters Club of Magic the Amateuring.
That's right. You can head over to patreon.com/MTAcast. We have all sorts of rewards, magnetic poetry sets, playmats that you can earn by supporting the show. And, of course, you also earn our unending gratitude and appreciation, not only of us, but of all the listeners out there, because without you, the show would literally not happen.
Yeah. And you're so great. We want to say thank you by rewarding you, but also by continuing to broadcast to you every week out of your cat's mouth, out of wherever you listen. Welcome to everybody who joined the Magic the Amateuring family this past month. Thank you so much. You are the glue that holds this popsicle stick fort together.
That's right.
And we couldn't thank you enough.
You are the crust of the dum-dum pie.
To be the crust of the dum-dum pie, all you have to do is super easy. Go to patreon.com/MTAcast, and for less than you bought your last pair of socks for, you can support us every single month.
That's actually correct. I was trying to think, socks always cost more than I want them to.
They really do.
But I should stop devaluing socks like that. They do a difficult job.
I mean, you can't replace a sock with very much.
No, a sock is the only thing that does its job.
I can wear a skirt instead of pants or leggings. What can I wear instead of a sock?
Sandals.
Yeah, but it's cold in Minnesota.
That's true. So
what am I going to do?
Nothing.
Wrap my foot in a ball of cotton? Put a Kleenex between my toes? Not the same thing.
Gross. Weird. Anyways, thank you also to our sponsor, cardkingdom.com, cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. You want to pick up this new set? You want to buy a box of Ixalan?
Do.
There's a best place to do it, and that best place is Card Kingdom. They will ship it to you so fast
that you'll
freak out. It will arrive on your doorstep days before you expect it.
It's like when you got that baby that showed up on your porch and you're like, what? I didn't expect this baby. That's how it feels every time you get an order from Card Kingdom.
They are cardkingdom.com as fast as storks.
I think that's their tagline. I really do. One of our favorite things to do is to draft with our friends the brand new set. And if you want to do that with your friends, if you've never done it, we suggest going to cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. Please use that link. It's the only way they know that you are supporting us, supporting them. Send out an evite or however you want to do this. Maybe don't use an evite. Those things are
that's weird.
Kind of annoying.
And your friends are not going to come.
But do something so you can hang out and draft with your buds of Ixalan and do it through Card Kingdom, the best place to buy Magic cards. It's just a great place with great people. And Ixalan looks like it's going to be a great set.
Yeah, it does. So let's dive in.
High five across Rob's face. All right, everybody, welcome to the show, Judge Rob.
Judge Rob.
Hi.
Judge Rob, what are you reading this episode?
Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings.
Oh, excellent.
Which is the first book of his Stormlight Archive series. The third book comes out in November, so I'm starting my run-up because they're giant doorstops.
Yes,
I'm way back and probably way quiet.
That's okay.
So,
excellent choice for your book today. And Rob, just for the listeners who don't know how cool you are, can you please introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. I'm Judge Rob. I'm a level 3 judge and regional coordinator for the USA North region.
North region, best region!
It is best region. That's my opinion. And so I do a lot of judging. I've been doing this since 2004. It was actually 13 years for me in August.
Oh, so, congratulations. That's insane.
Happy judge birthday.
I'm not even 13 years old.
Yes,
you are. You are definitely a minor. You have to have people sign documents for you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
Maria is
I'm not allowed to drive or
recording
rent a car.
today, despite the fact that she should be in school right now.
And it's Rob, like looking dapper, I should say, as well. A velvet jacket.
Yes. Yeah, a really good friend of mine, actually a judge friend of mine, Stephen Briggs, the regional coordinator for USA Central Region. Got
Central
married
Region, second best region!
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
And so I was one of his groomsmen in the wedding.
Oh, excellent choice.
Yeah. Excellent choice to be a groomsman.
No, I mean that did he choose these jackets for you?
No, he just gave us a color selection and said, do what you want.
Oh, awesome.
And I said, I could do with a
I'm gonna do
velvet jacket.
Velvet jacket.
So, wow.
If you all aren't watching this on YouTube, head over to youtube.com/MTAcast. Get a load of Rob's sweet velvet jacket. That's all I got to say.
It's great.
It's really nice. It's pretty warm.
Rob, overall thoughts on Ixalan. How is the set looking to you?
I think the set looks super sweet. And it has a lot of stuff going on. It's a tribal set. It's an exploration set. It's got pirates. It's got dinosaurs. And they are actually delivering on pirates and dinosaurs being cool, unlike, every other pirate and every other dinosaur that's ever existed in Magic.
You don't think they're cool?
No. I think the previous ones were all kind of not cool. They were like Alpha Tyrannax is like a 6/5 for 6.
Oh, I see. You want them to be sweet.
Yes, I want sweet dinosaurs.
Okay, got it.
All the pirates didn't feel like pirates in the Rashadran block in Mercajan Masks.
Was that the last time we had pirates?
That was the last time that we had pirate cards.
Wow.
And none of them had pirate in their name for the most part. They were all like Rishadran Cutpurse is a pirate. How would you know that? You just have to know that
take some context clues and be like,
look, whatever on a pirate I know.
There's a pirate bird?
Yeah, pirate bird. I think that is the Cutpurse.
Wow, that's cool.
That's pretty neat.
What context clues do you need when you're like, is this person a pirate? Eye patch, check. Peg leg, check. Bird on the shoulder, check.
Is a giant bird.
I was thinking more like, it's like, are they on a boat?
Are they trying to steal my jewels?
Exactly. Do they have a cutlass?
Brigand. Rashadran Brigand.
Oh, it is and that's a pirate bird?
It's a human pirate. Actually, the person is the pirate. The giant bird is the not pirate.
I see.
It has flying though.
Do you know what? In my mind, that bird is the pirate.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that's what I always thought it was, and apparently I was mistaken.
I believe what you believe.
That's all right. Ixalan is super sweet. It's just lousy with awesome pirates and dinosaurs. And new mechanics and keywords. So what we're going to do, the way we're going to structure this is we're going to go through the new mechanics, keywords, abilities, that kind of thing first. Then we're going to talk about specific cards and answer your questions that you've tweeted in or Facebooked in to us. So Rob, hit us off. What do you want to start the learning with?
I would like to talk about Explore.
Ooh, so would we.
Yeah. Explore shows up in all of the tribes. So there's 4 big tribes in Ixalan, right? There's the pirates, there's the dinosaurs, there's the vampires, and then there's the merfolk, right?
Wow. Crowded plane.
Yes.
Well, usually they do 5s, right?
Oh,
like in Lorwyn, was there 5 tribes?
Lorwyn had 8.
Wow, okay, never mind.
And so they can do different numbers by picking different color combinations for the tribes. So they're like dinosaurs are in 3 colors, pirates are in 3, and merfolk and vampires are in 2.
Okay.
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
Technically color balances things. It's just weird. It's unusual, and I like that they're trying new things.
Yeah.
And so Explorer shows up on everything. There are pirates with Explorer. I don't think there are any dinosaurs with Explorer. You explore to find dinosaurs.
Yeah. Dinosaurs, that's not really...
Dude, there's a little dinosaur out there that wants to explore its heart out.
Probably true. So I want to talk about Explore. Explore is a keyword action, which means that it goes into sentences as an action that you take or as your cards take. So I'm going to talk about Deadeye Tracker here. It's a 1/1 for a single black. It's a human pirate, black 1 and tap. Exile 2 target cards from an opponent's graveyard. Deadeye Tracker explores. And so to explore, you reveal the top card of your library. And if it's a land, you put it into your hand. And if it's not a land, then you get to choose whether it goes to the top of your library or your graveyard. And then you also get a +1/+1 counter on the creature that explores. So you either get to discover new territory or your creature gets bigger
they learned something.
I was going to say they stayed at home and got buff.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I'm having problems wrapping my head around this mechanic in terms of remembering what it does repeatedly, which means that it's not, they sometimes describe mechanics as sticky or not sticky. Everybody just kind of knows what Scry does. It sticks in your head really easily, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And Explore, I have to keep rereading and rethinking about. After I play with it a few times, it'll probably be good.
Molasses, a notably sticky mechanic.
Yes. Except when it's really hot and in a giant tank in Boston.
Ooh.
The Great Molasses Flood of...
That's right.
Wow.
People died.
Yes,
in
there were a lot of people that died.
Flood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a way to go. Wow.
A giant tank of molasses ruptured and flooded a street in Boston and killed a bunch of people.
Did they drown in the molasses?
Some of them did.
Yes.
Some of them were just knocked down and buried underneath building pieces.
Oh, drowned.
That's horrifying. And
yes, it is.
I don't know what's worse. That or just normal drowning. I mean,
let's not pick.
Okay,
let's
both
not
bad.
Pick.
Both bad.
Let's say they're both bad.
They're both bad.
Well, yeah, we'll play with it, and I'm sure it'll be. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a handful of cards that trigger based on exploring happening. Lurking Chupacabra is a 2/3 for black and 3. Very exciting. It's a beast horror.
I'm so excited.
Whenever a creature you control explores, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/2 until end of turn.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It triggers after you take the explore action, so after you do all this stuff. So you know whether or not you've seen a land, you know what the top card of your library is if you put it back on top of your library.
Okay.
So you get to know everything before you make the decisions for Lurking Chupacabra, before its trigger even goes in the stack.
Okay.
And that's true for all the explore triggers that happen.
Gotcha.
You get to know everything about the exploration before you make a decision about the trigger.
Ah.
It's super relevant for Lurking Chupacabra because knowing whether or not you're drawing a removal spell is pretty important.
Yeah.
If you explore and you see a double-faced card,
like the new lands or something.
Yeah, you look at only the front side of it. So when you explore and run across a double-faced card, it's not a land in your library.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that with double-faced cards.
Oh, I see. So it's not like you can't just turn it over and look at the back. You're like, no, this is not a land.
Yeah, this is not a land. I don't put it in my hand, so I don't put the double-faced cards in my hand when I explore. And you only see the front side of it, basically.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
And
here's a relevant thing for people named Maria.
Yes. 2 things. If the card is both a land and something else, it's a land, you put it in your hand. There's only one of those. And if you have no cards in your library, you get a +1/+1 counter because you it says, if you reveal a land, put it in your hand. If you didn't reveal a land, which, because you can't reveal any cards you didn't, you'll get a +1/+1.
And then you lose the game.
I reveal nothing.
It's not strictly true. There's cards that'll put cards back in your library.
That's true. There is even one in this set.
It's true.
Yeah.
And so I actually, because they're back and they're awesome, I want to talk about double face cards now.
Oh, they're so great.
They're so awesome. So all the double face cards in this set are about exploration. They're all rares, and they all are something that you're like a legendary quest, like the search for Azcanta is basically the search for Atlantis, basically. And so they're themed around searching for things, and they all transform into a land with a super sweet ability. A very, very powerful ability.
And beautiful layout and artwork.
Yes.
We've talked about this a million times, but
them.
gosh,
Yes.
they look
them.
so good.
They look gorgeous. And so they're all rare, so you're going to end up with them pretty infrequently in your pre-release events. But you're going to probably see them a bunch in standard because they're all pretty powerful, actually. Well, that's not strictly true, but they all look pretty good. So talking about the search for Azcanta, it's a legendary enchantment, a 1 and a blue to cast it. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. Then, if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search for Azcanta. On the other side, it's Azcanta the Sunken Ruin, legendary land, taps for blue, 2 blue tap, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order.
Gotcha.
And so this is a very, very powerful card filtering tool, actually, on both sides.
Yeah. Question. So it did say May, right?
Yep.
So you can just be like, no, I'm going to continue looking for Azcanta.
Yes. I found it, but I'm good.
I found it, but let's just pretend like I didn't find it and I need to search some more.
Yep. And so that's important because some say may and some say don't. So treasure map, 2-cost artifact, 1 and a tap, scry 1, put a landmark counter on treasure map. Then if there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, remove those counters, transform it, and create 3 colorless treasure artifact tokens, which we'll talk about treasure in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not optional. When you find the treasure map transforms. Gives you 3 treasure tokens. It sends you to Treasure Cove, which is a land, taps for colorless, and you tap and sacrifice it to draw a card.
Oh, you're getting those treasures.
Tap and sacrifice a treasure, draw a card.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So you can't elect not to transform it in order to repeatedly get treasures out of treasure map.
Okay. That's fair.
And so pay attention. Some of them say may, some of them don't say may.
Gotcha.
Good note.
And yeah.
Make sure your sleeves are good enough to hide these bad boys.
There's going to be a bunch of checklists running around. There's actually very few double face cards in this set. There's about as many as the mythics.
Okay.
So they're rare. So there's not a ton of them. They're going to be a little bit more frequent if you played in Origins, if you remember the double-faced Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
About twice as frequent as that.
Okay.
You remember how you get one of those about like every 3 or 4 sealed pools.
Gotcha.
So these will be running around. There'll be about 1 every other sealed pool or so.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Question. This goes for treasure map that we just looked at. So it says 1 and tap, scry 1, put a landmark counter. Then if there are 3 more landmark counters on it, remove those counters, transform treasure map, and create 3 tokens. Yep. When I transform it, is it tapped or is it untapped?
Treasure map, it transforms tapped.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And so it'll be tapped after it transforms because
in that case, unless it says like untap it, whatever state it was in.
But there's the transforming boat exiles itself, then returns transformed. So it will be untapped.
Okay.
So pay attention to the way that things transform. All of these transform based on some ability resolving. So with Search for Azcanta, it doesn't just auto transform when you get a seventh card in your graveyard. You have to, at the beginning of your upkeep, do the trigger do whatever you're going to do with the top card of your library, and then you may transform, and only at that time, only when the ability resolves.
Very cool.
And that's the same with all of them. They don't just transform themselves. If they come close to their condition, they need a specific timing to happen generally.
Just like a werewolf won't transform when a moon is almost full. You gotta wait till that moon is 100%, baby.
All the way. Yes.
Enrage is here.
I'm actually going to skip to treasure because I realized that we should talk about that following treasure map. So treasure. Treasure's really similar to an old thing they did called gold that they did in Theros.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
we talked about gold.
Talked about gold.
Treasure makes a token. It's a token artifact with tap, sacrifice, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So anytime something makes a treasure token, that's exactly what it makes.
Yeah.
They're all interchangeable. They're all the same. And things will make treasure in small numbers or large numbers. Spell Swindle is 3 blue instant. Counter target spell. Create X colorless treasure artifact tokens, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. And it describes them. It says that you have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And it's a non-creature token. It's a mana ability. Nobody can respond to it. And there's a bunch of things that make treasure across all the colors. If you have a spell that has Inspire, so you have War of Invention, which has Inspire as an ability. It lets you tap artifacts to help cast your spell. You can't get mana from the treasure token and also use it for Inspire.
Gotcha.
Because it's gone.
And I was just thinking about that. That's probably why they didn't use gold this time around.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that would be kind of busted.
Funnily enough, you couldn't use it both on the same spell, but it looked like you could.
Gotcha.
Just you would have to sacrifice it for mana first, and then you can choose to pay for mana via Inspire.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so, yeah, it just looks a lot like you could, even though you can't.
So this templating helps everybody understand.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you cannot tap it for both things.
Okay.
Sweet.
So this is something that's going to be relevant in Standard. I think Spell Swindle is going to be super sweet. It's the best rewind and the best mana drain variant since Mana Drain.
Can we just take a moment to promote something that's going to be coming to your lives very soon? On the 20th of this month, you will see a Spell Swindle cast. On what side, we can't say, in an episode of Game Nights.
That's right.
In which Meghan and I play. We haven't actually talked about it on the show, but
really?
It's been tweeted out. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so it is public knowledge. Game Nights starring Meghan and I two-headed gianting in Ixalan,
Yes.
sealed
That's
versus
exciting.
Jimmy and Josh of the
That's
Command
right.
Zone.
And someone gets spell swindled
hard.
It is brutal when it happens.
I just couldn't hold it back anymore. Every time I look
it's
at Spell
good.
Swindle, all I can think about is that. It was so sick.
It's really sick. You're gonna have to watch it to find out.
Yeah.
Every time I cube and I get mana drained, it feels like I get gut punched. And this is like
Yeah,
the same.
this is
This is
double
the same
gut
card, but like even more devastating because you have the mana forever.
Yes.
And also right away. So it's
Any color.
Yeah, in any color. Like if you played with Rewind, which is a perfectly reasonable counterspell, this is Rewind that lets you keep the mana.
Yep.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fair card.
So yeah, check it out on the 20th. It drops anyway.
So Treasure's sweet.
Yeah, Treasure's really cool.
I'm very excited by it. So we're gonna hit Enrage. We're gonna talk about the dinosaur mechanic.
Enrage.
Yes. So a bunch of dinosaurs have Enrage. Enrage is an ability word, and I'm gonna go through a dinosaur with Enrage really quick so that we can see what it does. So Raptor Hatchling is 1 and a red. For a little tiny dinosaur, it's a 1/1.
Little guy.
Little baby dinosaur, 1/1. Enrage, whenever Raptor Hatchling is dealt damage, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample.
Oh man, you know what's going to be great? When there's a sick aura that we can put on this bad boy and a pinger.
But there's a bunch of auras in this set.
Oh really?
Actually. Yeah, there's a set of common auras. There's a blue one that gives +2/+2 in flying, and a red one swashbuckling that gives +2/+2 in haste. And
and then the black one, the Mark of the Vampire.
Mark of the Vampire, +2/+2 in lifelink. So there's actually a bunch of auras in this set.
Repeatable 3/3. Somebody
Yes.
do it and tweet it at MTAcast. Thank you.
Very exciting. So Enrage, as I mentioned, is an ability word, which means the word Enrage is basically flavor text. It doesn't do anything itself on the card. Everything that an Enrage card does is spelled out explicitly on the card.
So if it just said Enrage and then nothing else, it'd be like, that does nothing.
That does nothing.
It does nothing. And it gets angry.
Yeah.
But
But
great.
then nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens.
Good job. You're mad.
Yeah. But Enrage is basically a when this is dealt damage trigger. And so when Raptor Hatchling is dealt damage, everything with Enrage is when this is dealt damage. Do a thing. And that happens after the damage happens. Snapping Sailback actually calls that out explicitly. He has the ability Enrage. Whenever Snapping Sailback is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then it says in reminder text, it must survive the damage to get the counter.
Good point.
Yes.
Good point.
It must.
It must. It probably will because it's a 4/4.
Yeah, and it's flash.
It's real big.
Yeah. You will get mugged by Snapping Sailback. I predict I will get mugged by Snapping Sailback multiple times.
Remember,
over the course of
everybody, this
block.
card is in the set. It costs 5, okay?
Yep.
4 and a green.
Yeah, if you attack into 4 and a green,
Beware.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, you probably need Raid, which is the next mechanic I want to talk about.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it.
Raid is the pirate mechanic. It's on a bunch of pirate cards and a bunch of instants, a bunch of sorceries that are all pirate themed. And so I'm going to talk about Rigging Runner, which is a straightforward raid card. Single red for a 1/1. First strike. Raid. Rigging Runner enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you attacked with a creature this turn.
And so how is Raid similar or different to something like Enrage?
It's an ability word as well. The word Raid doesn't mean anything. It just tells you this does something based on you having attacked. And so Rigging Runner says if you attacked, get a +1/+1 counter on it. Raider's Wake says Raid at the beginning of your end step. If you attacked with a creature this turn, target opponent discards a card. So it has an end step trigger that happens every turn if you attack. It's a little bit different, but it just looks at did you attack or not, which is all that Raid, all the Raid cards just care about having attacked.
Question, something like Raider's Wake that looks at it at the end step. Say I attacked with stuff and then played this post-combat. Is it going to see me having attacked?
Yep. It just asks the game the state of did you attack or did you not attack.
It doesn't need to have seen it itself. It can ask the game.
Yes.
Excuse me, game.
Did I attack?
I anthropomorphize the game a lot. I think there being a third player, the game of Magic that does a lot of processing for me.
The game of Magic
That's
is watching
great.
us all.
Yes.
Play it.
Wow.
It's weird.
It's weird, you guys. It's weird and great.
And
It's got big eyes and 2 horns. And
no mouth. It doesn't really actually answer questions.
Oh, creepy! What you just described as horrifying! Oh.
You're the one who said giant claw hand.
No mouth is really what got me.
Oh god. Have you guys ever read the horror short story? I have no mouth and yet I must scream.
And I
Yes.
must scream.
And I must scream.
Yeah, Harlan Ellison.
Oh boy.
Yes.
No, thank you.
Do you know? I like to read that. That's like my Halloween activity.
Is reading that?
Like, yeah, it's just like costumes are fine, parties are fine, but really, I just want to like go and read a story that's gonna creep me out.
Just go read a bunch of Harlan Ellison. The Boy and His Dog. Repent Harlequin said the TikTok Man.
Ah, yes.
I haven't heard it.
Really?
Really?
It's a great title.
Go find Nightbird Tales, I think is the name of the collection that has a whole bunch of really good, really creepy ones from him.
Okay. Maria knows I'm real bad with spooky things.
Yeah,
with
that's
spooky
surprising
movies,
to me.
But for some reason, spooky stories, I'm like all about it.
Ooh, I should tell my spooky story in an extra special patron special sometime,
Ooh,
Megan.
yeah.
I have a very spooky story I made up when I was very young. Spoiler alert, it's not spooky at all, but I thought it was.
That's right. Wait, I want to tell people the end line just so that they know what was, or like
okay.
not like, but the end thing that happens, and the baby and the baby rode away on the long clawed dog.
Yep.
That is the end of Maria's spooky story. Anyways,
How did we get to that point? You'll have to become a patron to find out.
Become a patron to know.
We're talking about Raid. There's also some Raid spells, instants and sorceries that will change the way that they resolve if you attack this turn. So like Fire Cannon Blast is 1 red for a sorcery. Fire Cannon Blast deals 3 damage to target creature. A Raid, Fire Cannon Blast deals 6 damage to that creature instead if you attacked with a creature this turn. Mm-hmm. So they read the whole spell, basically, when you're going to try to resolve an instant or sorcery in this set. Because it might change its mind later on in the spell about how it's going to resolve.
Wait.
Wait. I'm going to do 6. Never mind.
Yeah. I make that a bigger number. There's also one really weird oddball spell that gains an activated ability in your graveyard if you have attacked.
Yes.
It's super sweet. It's like a Hammerable Garden for those of you who have been playing for 20 years. 22? 21.
I like that you looked at your hands.
20
How many
years?
Double this.
Yeah.
Double this.
More than these. So I also want to hit on vehicles, which are coming back. If you picked up during Amonkhet and skipped Kaladesh, you won't know about vehicles. We have a bunch of pirate ships. They're sweet. So like Dusk Legion Dreadnought's a 4/6 for 5 mana, which is fine, but it isn't actually a creature. It has power and toughness, but it's not a creature. It's an artifact vehicle. It has vigilance and crew 2. You tap any number of creatures you control with total power 2 or more to turn it into a creature until end of turn with that power toughness live on it, basically. and you can overcrew, so you can send a 3 to crew your crew 2. You don't get change back, and you can't do it in installments. So if you have a 1/1 that can untap itself somehow, you can't pay 1, untap it, and then pay 1 again.
Oh,
you need to pay all of the power up front when you're crewing a vehicle.
Just like when I bought my car. Just kidding. That's the opposite of how most people buy their cars.
It is how I bought my car.
Oh, is it? Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah. That's because my car cost not that much.
Megan drives a red wagon flyer.
You have to pull it.
You didn't mount a lawnmower engine in it?
You know what? I'll have to look into that upgrade. It's going to really change my life.
I love you don't get change. Like, I take my 3/3 and I crew this vehicle, and then I get like a token 1/1. I split my creature down the middle.
Well, you don't get change to crew a different vehicle. Like, say that you have two of these.
I see.
You couldn't use a 3/3 and a 1/1 to crew both of them. Your 3/3 has to all go onto one.
Because that would be really weird if your driver was
in 2 cars.
like their hand is over in another car.
In 2 boats at the same time, like just 1 foot on each boat.
I think I saw that in a movie once, actually.
Yeah, I think it was
I'm pretty
Footloose.
sure Pirates of the Caribbean did that.
Probably true.
You know all those boat scenes in Footloose?
No, I'm thinking of when the opening scene when they're playing chicken or something, and she's climbing from one car to the other. That's what's going on, and she has her 1 foot in each car and is like standing on them as they're driving down the road.
I don't remember this.
It is highly unsafe. More unsafe than all of the dancing that happens in that movie. I want to point out.
More unsafe than watching the film Footloose and expecting a good time.
Whoa! Holy crap! Sick bird on Footloose. Are you kidding me right now?
I'm not.
Are you joking my butt? Footloose is a great film, and I'm not going to say that. The music is fun. The music is fun.
Footloose is a great film. No, wait,
I backed that up. I backed that up.
Yeah,
Let's hear it for the boy. Great
let's
song.
walk that back.
Okay, Footloose is a terrible movie that has 1 good song in it.
Footloose is also a good song.
I stand corrected.
You don't want to dance to Footloose?
Okay, you're right.
Okay, 2 good songs.
It has 2 good songs, which total to like 10 minutes out of an hour and a half running.
I've seen movies with worse ratios than that.
That's
I paid money for movies with worse ratios than that.
That's how movies should be advertised. What's the ratio to good parts of this movie to bad parts?
And then then you have Hot Fuzz, which is like 150% because you go out of the movie trying to figure out exactly how awesome it was. Right?
Oh, that's cute.
So
it's so great.
Hot Fuzz is amazing. So last point I want to hit on vehicles.
Yeah.
They don't have haste. So if you play a vehicle and crew it, you can't attack with it that same turn.
Right.
You can block with it, but you can't attack with it the same turn.
Gotcha.
And you also should crew before you attack.
But summoning sick creatures can crew a boat.
Summoning sick, yeah. So you can definitely play your boat, and then the next turn play a dude and crew it immediately.
Sweet.
Because it doesn't use the tap symbol, which is the defining. It's the defining factor on whether or not something needs haste to be activated.
I like when you said you made it like akin to animating a creature land.
Yeah. So just like a creature land, you should animate it before you attack.
Right.
Because if you start trying to attack with some creatures, your opponent should have gotten the chance to do something before you start attacking.
Right.
And so you should just crew your boat and then get in there afterwards. They're going to get the chance to respond in the middle no matter what you do. So be upfront about it, or else you're giving them a bunch of information, or sometimes getting locked out at a more competitive tournament.
Yep.
And so, yeah, those are the new mechanics. There's no dedicated mechanic for either merfolk or vampires.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
They're just kind of doing it all.
Yeah, they're just doing a bunch of random stuff. There's a couple more merfolk explorers than there are otherwise.
Vampires are life linking and stuff. I guess.
They life link. They pay some life. They gain you life. If you remember the white black deck from Battle for Zendikar that like gained a bunch of life and then paid it for things.
Oh yeah.
It looks pretty similar to that.
Very cool.
And merfolk are just kind of like
fish.
Yeah, they just bounce your stuff. They're a tempo deck. If people pay attention to what kinds of decks get played, they like bounce your thing and attack with the 2/2 go. All right,
unblockable. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, may or may not be blockable. Whatever. I want to talk about 2 rules changes. One of them I'm going to spend a little bit of more time on than the other. So Planeswalkers. If you look at a Planeswalker from a previous set, it just said Planeswalker dash and then the Planeswalker subtype. So it'd be Planeswalker dash Jace. And now in this set, you have Legendary Planeswalker dash Jace. Or I wanted to talk about Quality Warrior Poet because that's cool.
She's great.
She's great. Awesome. She's a dinosaur rider that is also a poet. Like she does.
She does it all.
What more do you want? Get someone who can do it all. Ride a dinosaur and write you a poem.
probably while riding the dinosaur.
While riding the dinosaur.
While riding the dinosaur. So what they're doing is they're making a actually fairly substantial change to how Planeswalkers work. Planeswalkers are now legendary. The Planeswalker uniqueness rule is getting dragged out behind the barn and then sent off to a farm upstate.
Maria, he said he's taking it to a farm.
But why does he have to take it behind the barn first?
Because that's the way to the car.
But why is he bringing a shotgun?
Because the road is dangerous.
Yeah, they want to steal my Planeswalker.
Oh, okay.
And I got to defend it from bandits.
So I can go visit this Planeswalker?
Yeah, maybe when you're older.
Rule on the farm?
Maybe when you're older.
Okay, well, I'm going to remember. Don't think I'm not going to remember.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to get you a new rule for Planeswalkers someday. It'll be a rule.
I'll poke holes in the box at Christmas.
So Planeswalkers are now legendary. What that means is the old rule was you couldn't have two Planeswalkers with the same Planeswalker type out at the same time. So you couldn't have two Hualti Planeswalkers or Huatli Planeswalkers out at the same time. Now you can have two different named Planeswalkers out at the same time. So you still can't have two copies of Huatli Warrior Poet, but you can have Huatli Warrior Poet and Huatli Dinosaur Knight.
Ooh.
Huatli Dinosaur Knight's from the Planeswalker deck, so you probably won't see her in Standard a bunch.
Right.
But you can. You could definitely have both copies of her. You could have two Jaces, you can have two Nissas, as long as they're different copies of each other.
Gotcha. In Modern, you could have 1 million Gideons.
Yes.
You could all of the Gideons.
Oops, all Gideons is a real deck. And one note, if you play Commander, the Commander, secret council has not said that Planeswalkers can be your commanders. So be aware, this doesn't make any change to how your commanders function. It just, adds a random type to Planeswalkers and changes their rules a tiny bit under the hood.
Wow, there's a Commander Secret Council.
Yeah. They wear hoods.
I mean, there's not.
They meet on Skype because they're all across the country.
They meet on Skype.
There's nothing better than imagining a bunch of people in a very secret council just being like, okay, fire
right,
Skype.
Skype. Doop, 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 bring. Hello, this is
guys,
the secret
have you thought
council.
about moving to Google Hangouts?
Turn off the lights in your room. It's not weird enough. It needs to be more secret. All right, what's the second crazy rule change?
So this is a really subtle one, and I'm going to hit it really fast. Enters the battlefield replacement effects are having a very, very minor change that it's affecting basically like less than 1% of all cards. But people got all up in arms about it because it got mentioned in the release notes for Iconic Masters, which comes out after this. But they put out the release notes because they put out a bunch of cards at HasCon. So the whole set's out and they want to be able to remind people what the cards do and how to play them. They put it in the release notes for that set and people got all up in arms about how Blood Moon is changing, and it's nothing to do with Blood Moon. It's like a casualty of this change.
Gotcha.
What it really boils down to is previously cards used to not look at other continuous effects, and this is super technical, before they applied their replacement effects, and now they do. It basically means if you have an Arcane adaptation, which it says it's 2 in blue for an enchantment, as Arcane adaptation enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to the other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. And you have a Metallic Mimic. It's 2/1 for 2. As Metallic Mimic enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Metallic Mimic is the chosen type in addition to its other type. And each other creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Previously, if you named Turtle for both of these...
First of all, great work.
Yeah, great.
Turtles are nice. I own the art for Calcite.
I am being legitimate right now. I want to see this turtle deck.
So if you name Turtle for both of these cards and you cast a Runeclaw Bears, which is a bear, right?
Bear turtle.
But it's a turtle in addition to its other types. It enters the battlefield. Yeah. It's always a turtle. It wouldn't get a counter.
Gotcha.
You would think it would get a counter, but it doesn't.
Okay.
So now it does.
Now it does. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have questions, if you have comments, if you really don't understand why this had to exist before, I will talk your ear off about Overwhelming Splendor and Clone and Hydras and all sorts of other nonsense if you comment on the YouTube video. Because I can talk about this for a bunch, but it boils down to they wanted to make these cards work.
Like
in a
more
way people
intuitively.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
So,
well, those are some pretty sweet mechanics and abilities. Let's talk about some specific cards.
Single cards.
These are cards that are looking for a hot date.
Yeah, hostage taker. She will take you on a date.
Wow, she sure will, and then she'll own you, or not really own you, control you.
She'll sell you back to your dad, who has a specific set of skills. He's like a pasta chef. So hostage taker, 2/3, 2 blue black.
Is that what Liam Neeson meant? That he was a pasta maker?
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, he knows how to boil water, add salt to it, and he knows how to make pasta from scratch, actually, which is an underappreciated skill.
That's really impressive.
Oh, Liam, you continue to impress just constantly.
So hostage taker, when hostage taker enters the battlefield, the card says exile target artifact or creature until hostage taker leaves the battlefield. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. This card has errata already.
What does that mean?
They're changing the text of the card to make it work right.
Whoops.
It's every once in a while, and just to think about how rarely cards actually that are in standard actually get functional changes to their text. Hostage Taker is the first time since, I think, Walking Atlas that they've actually misprinted a card.
Okay.
And so Hostage Taker should say exile another target artifact or creature.
So it can't exile itself.
Right. Because otherwise you could play Hostage Taker, target itself, have it remove itself, and then it'll come back right away. Because the duration will end as soon as it leaves. So it could just flicker itself a bunch to get you infinite enters. Like, if you have something that says whenever a pirate you control enters the battlefield, do a thing, you can get infinite copies of that.
Okay.
Or if it was alone, if there were no other creatures in the battlefield and entered the battlefield, the game ends in a draw because it's not optional.
Oh, boy.
Which, that's not the case. They errated it. It's another target artifact or creature.
Gotcha.
So we're good now.
Look, it happens to the best of us.
Yep.
I forget the word another. Like when I said I would like one Oreo Blizzard, I should have said, and also another.
And so, Hostage Taker is getting some errata there.
Okay.
We're going to move on to another interesting card, Skullduggery, which is a common. You'll see it a bunch. It might be the best combat trick in the set. I love this card.
It's a great name.
Single black, instant. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1, and target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1. It has 2 targets. You have to have 2 targets in order to cast Skullduggery.
Gotcha.
If your opponent has no creatures, you can't boost your guy. If you have no creatures, you can't kill their creature.
If, say I have one, they have one, and I cast this on mine and on theirs, and I only have the one, and they kill mine in response,
then it'll resolve.
Okay.
So spells, if they have multiple targets, if all of their targets are gone, they don't resolve. If at least one of their targets are still there, they will resolve and do what they can.
Gotcha.
Look,
I'm just gonna do what I can.
Yeah, Skullduggery is like, you made a pretty good effort. You cast me. You had some targets.
You had illegal targets.
Yep.
Okay. By the way, that trick is great. I love it.
Oh man, I'm very excited, and I'm also planning on getting Skulldugged a lot because it's real cheap.
Skullduggery!
So I want to hit Bellowing Aegisaur. It's white and 5.
Don't hit it. It has Enrage, Rob.
No, I want to hit it a lot because it makes all my other creatures bigger.
Yes, this card's great.
It's white and 5 for a 3/5 Dinosaur. Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control.
Nice.
So if something deals damage to all your creatures at the same time, like there's Pirate Clasm, it's got a real name, but there's no way anybody's going to call it anything else.
That's great.
Pirate Clasm.
Yes.
Well done.
So Pirate Clasm, it deals 2 damage to each non-pirate creature. If you have a 2/2, it'll die. Just like we talked about before with the sailback, the creature needs to survive for Aegisaur's trigger to put a counter on it.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
This will be a relevant thing to a bunch of people. Imperial Lancer. He loves dinosaurs, or she. I cannot tell if he or she from here.
Yeah.
Yep. So Imperial Lancer is a 1/1 for single white. It's a human knight. Imperial Lancer has double strike as long as you control a dinosaur, which is super sweet.
They really love dinosaurs.
Yeah. And so Imperial Lancer, if Imperial Lancer attacks in and you attack with a dinosaur, and the dinosaur dies during first strike combat damage, Imperial Lancer won't deal regular combat damage. Will only deal the first strike damage because Imperial Lancer will lose double strike before normal damage happens.
Because they've lost the dinosaur they're riding.
Yep, exactly. Imperial Lancer will fall off and be like, the dinosaur was giving me the ability to hit twice. I lost my dinosaur friend during first strike.
No.
So sad.
Yeah. Lancer, I'm sorry.
I have to think about it this way because that helps me remember. I make little flavor stories.
My dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of accurate. So Steadfast Armasaur is a 2/3 for white and 3. Vigilance. White 1 and tap. Or 1 white and tap. Steadfast Armasaur deals damage equal to its toughness to target creature blocking or blocked by it. And so if Steadfast Armasaur attacks, somebody blocks it, and then you hit it with its giant spiked tail, like it does.
Yeah.
It won't deal damage to the player unless it gained trample somehow.
Gotcha.
Which there's a way to do that, but
yes.
If something is blocked, it only deals damage to the defending player if it has trample, even if you kill the blocker somehow.
Grim Captain's Call.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought it said Grim Captain's Cult. I was like, that's weird, but okay.
Oh, well, yeah. Reanimates a bunch of things, yeah. So black and 2, or 2 and black sorcery. Return a pirate card from your graveyard to your hand. Then do the same for vampire, dinosaur, and merfolk. So it doesn't target. You make the decisions as it resolves. So if they exile some cards from your graveyard, and you have a different pirate, you can choose a different pirate than the one you originally wanted.
Ooh. Oh, that's good.
And also, it can bring back 4 cards.
Question. Do I have to do it in this order? For sure, I have to start with pirate, right?
Right. So the whole thing happens during the resolution of the spell. They can't respond in the middle of it to remove something later, so it doesn't actually matter what order the things come back.
Right.
So you just pick these 4 cards, up to 4 cards, splay them out, say, this is my pirate, this is my dinosaur, this is my vampire.
But you must have a pirate in your graveyard in order to cast it.
Nope. You can cast this with no cards in your graveyard.
I mean, can I cast it with only dinosaurs in there?
Yep.
Okay.
You can cast it with any random things you want in your graveyard, and then as it resolves, you make a decision. Do you have a pirate? Well, I can't return a pirate. It doesn't do that. I can return this dinosaur and this merfolk, though.
Because it's so weird the way that it's written, It's like you have, to me, it sounds like, first you got to do the pirate, then you can do whatever else you want.
Well, but it isn't conditional, right? It says return a pirate, then return a vampire, then return a dinosaur, then return a merfolk.
Yeah, I guess it just feels like it,
yeah,
because of then.
Yeah, and especially because
why doesn't it say return a pirate and all of these other things if you want?
It could just say that. It would be a little bit different template. It would say return up to 1 pirate card, up to 1 vampire card, up to 1 merfolk card, up to 1 dinosaur card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this reads a little cleaner because it doesn't have 4 up 2s.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Have you heard about up to?
What's up to?
I don't know. What are you up to?
Okay. Walked right into that one.
I saw that coming all the way the entire time, but...
So, Direfleet Ravager, move on to another card here. Direfleet Ravager is black 3 for a 4/4 orc pirate wizard. I usually don't read the type lines. It's a sweet type line though. Has menace and death touch. And when Direfleet Ravager enters the battlefield, each player loses a third of his or her life rounded up.
Nice.
Which is super sweet. And it takes a little bit to wrap your brain around it. If you have like 15 life, you'll lose 5. Right, because it's a third. That's a third of 15. So you divide by 3, and then whatever number you get, and it's rounded up. So if you have a fraction, tack that on. If you have 16 life, you'll lose 6.
Cool.
Which is actually pretty brutal. That's about the right spot to cast it, I think, is if they have 15 or more life. I mean, you want to anyways because it's a 4/4 menace death touch. But and this gets everybody. This gets you and your opponent.
Important to remember.
Important.
And this will kill them if they're at 1.
Okay.
Nice.
Rowdy Crew. Red 2, 3/3, trample. When Rowdy Crew enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards at random. If 2 cards that share a card type are discarded this way, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Rowdy Crew. The card types don't have to be an exact match. So if you discard an artifact creature and a creature, you'll get the counters.
You're good.
Nice.
Double face cards, like we said before, will only see their front side. So if you discard a forest and also treasure map,
no good.
No good. It's an artifact and a land. Didn't get there.
And if you crew a vehicle with Rowdy Crew, expect to get into a boating accident.
Yeah, they
They're rowdy.
Well, they don't follow like either good sense or laws. Don't drink and boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're rowdy. They've got their mead.
Drink and boat. Important. Safety is important.
You didn't grow up here. This is actually really relevant.
It is.
Don't drink and boat.
It is.
Also, like, don't drink and snowmobile.
Oh
gosh.
God.
No. I mean, nobody follows that.
That one sounds... Really? I've never snowmobiled, but that sounds horrifying.
I mean, snowmobiling sounds horrifying.
Yeah, that's true. I was never like allowed to go on a snowmobile because my mom had a friend who got like under one and like broke some bones.
Ooh.
So
that doesn't surprise me. They're pretty heavy. Like, so my parents owned a resort growing up.
Is this another Rob almost dies story?
No, actually, like we practiced good snowmobile safety. My dad groomed trails, but like it's a resort restaurant, and we served a lot of liquor because we were in northern Wisconsin. Like for those
like
of
you do.
Those of you who aren't from the United States or aren't from the northern United States, go look up. There's a map that has a ratio of bars to grocery stores. I think it is bars to churches. It's a bars to churches ratio map by county, and you can see the shape of Wisconsin because everything else is more churches than bars, except for Wisconsin. There's more bars than churches.
All right.
To give you an idea of how Wisconsin
Classic
works.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. So, my parents owned a bar. Don't drink and snowmobile was advice. Everybody gave this advice, and as far as I can tell, nobody ever took it.
Wow.
Don't do it, kids. Don't drink and snowmobile.
Drink and snowmobile.
It's like you're snowmobiling in the cold. You will fall off your snowmobile, and then you will freeze to death. It will be bad.
Don't take too strong of a cough syrup and drive while we're at it.
Yeah.
You can drink milk in any of these situations.
Yeah. Drink a lot of milk.
What?
If you are adding other things to your milk.
And drink milk.
No.
It's
You can
called a White
drink
Russian.
milk and just go on. Anyway, let's move on.
Moving on.
Wait, so of the three things of drinking milk, drinking alcohol, and operating heavy machinery,
called a White Russian.
I can drink milk and drink alcohol. I can drink milk and drive heavy machinery.
Yep.
I cannot drink alcohol and drive heavy machinery.
Correct. There you go. You got
guys.
it.
We laid it all out
Yes.
for
Easy
you.
as that.
Yes.
Anyways.
Tocata Honor Guard.
Tocata Honor Guard. So Tocata Honor Guard is 1 and a white for a 1/3. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. This is the same text as a card called Topper Orb, if anybody's been playing for a while. They might have seen Topper Orb. But this card, Topper Orb led to a lot of questions, and Tocata Honor Guard is going to do the same. This stops when something enters the battlefield. So, for instance, all the Explore cards say that are based on entering the battlefield say when this enters the battlefield, it explores.
Gotcha.
That doesn't trigger. Those are triggered abilities. When, whenever, or at denote a triggered ability.
Gotcha.
There are things that say as something enters the battlefield, or enters the battlefield with, or enters the battlefield as something. Those aren't triggers. They replace entering the battlefield with entering the battlefield a little differently. Those aren't stopped by Tocata Honor Guard.
Gotcha.
When in doubt, call a judge. We'll help you sort it out.
Fair enough.
This won't come up a ton in Limited. Just remember it stops them from exploring, and it stops all their random merfolk that have a pile of triggers on them, and it stops random raid dudes. There isn't a lot in this Limited set that it interacts with, or that it fails to interact with. But in Standard, you're going to have things like Metallic Mimic. Doesn't stop the counters from Metallic Mimic. Doesn't stop people from choosing card types with or creature types with Metallic Mimic.
Sure.
All right.
So, Copala, Warden of Waves. 1 blue for a 2/2, a legendary merfolk wizard. Spells your opponents cast that target a merfolk you control cost 2 mana more to cast. Abilities of your opponents activate that target a merfolk you control cost 2 mana more to activate. Which is super sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a hard time killing your merfolk. This is when it says something just says a creature type naked like that, just that target a merfolk.
Yeah.
Rather than that target a merfolk creature or a merfolk spell, it means merfolk on the battlefield.
Gotcha.
So this doesn't make it harder to counter your merfolk. They can still do that. They can counter it for exactly the same amount of mana. This makes it harder for them to Grasp of Darkness your merfolk. This makes it that's rotating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Grasp is rotating. But yeah, it makes it harder for them to kill your merfolk.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't
Fatal
make it,
push.
Yeah. Fatal push. Because they can't make your merfolk walk the plank. Because it destroy target
That's right.
non-merfolk creature.
Wow, yeah, there you
And
go.
so
There you
merfolk
go.
are real hard to kill, actually.
Well, I mean, they swim away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're slippery.
And so, yep, it doesn't stop him from doing other stuff to merfolk that aren't on the battlefield yet, because those aren't merfolk. They're merfolk spells on the stack, or they're merfolk cards in other zones.
Fathom Fleet Captain.
It's 1 and a black for a 2/1. Has menace. It's a pirate. Whenever Fathom Fleet Captain attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with vigilance. Or no, vigilance. Menace. Good work. So Fathom Fleet Captain is a triggered ability whenever he attacks. This goes in the stack only if you control another pirate at the time it would trigger. And then at the time it resolves, you may pay 2 mana and make a pirate token. If they kill the other pirate in response to the trigger goes to resolve and does nothing, and you don't even get the chance to pay mana.
Gotcha.
But if they say, are you paying mana for that? Well, your trigger is resolving, and you get the chance to make a pirate, and they don't get the chance to kill your second pirate to stop it.
Nice.
So be aware that he has decisions at interesting times. Ruin Raider. It's black and 2 for a 3/2. Raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack the creature this turn, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to the card's converted mana cost.
Oh, it's a bomb.
Yeah, it's a Dark Confidant. It rewards you for attacking by giving you free Dark Confidant trigger. It's super great. It's not optional. Just like Dark Confidant.
It's happening.
Yes, Ruin Raider is at the beginning of your end step. Yes. He says, let's go.
Let's go. We're doing this.
Yep. So if you attack with a creature and then cast Ruin Raider, you're going to be Dark Confidanting.
Nice.
Which is, yep.
Interesting.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting card.
Yeah.
That it's not on itself, you know.
And it's really powerful. It's 3/2 for 3 is a good body on that too.
Yeah.
So Sunbirds Invocation. We don't have a Phoenix in this set. We have a card with a Phoenix on it. So 5 red.
Maybe that bird's just on fire. We don't know.
It's true. Some people light birds on fire for no reason. We call them pirates. So Sunbird's Invocation, 5 in red enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library where X is that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost X or less without paying its mana cost. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Converted mana cost, for those who don't know, is just the total amount of mana as a single number. So Sunbird's Invocation costs 6. Converted mana cost is weird. So we have a bunch of Aftermath spells that are split spells, right? On the stack, their converted mana cost is like just the side that you chose to cast.
Gotcha.
So Cut to Ribbons, Cut is red. There is 1 and a red for a sorcery. Cut deals 4 damage to target creature. If you have a Sunbird's Invocation out and cast Cut, your number is 2. You reveal the top 2 cards of your library. You can cast something that costs 2 or less. In your library, its converted mana cost is the sum of the mana costs of both sides.
So it would be 4.
Yep, because Ribbons is X black to cast.
All right.
So you usually can't use Aftermath spells in order to trigger and cast themselves, except in Cut to Ribbons. Or you can't even do it with Cut to Ribbons because you cast Ribbons from your graveyard for Aftermath.
Yeah.
So just generally, I guess with Heaven and Earth you could, if anybody's ever going to play that spell.
Gotcha.
But generally you won't ever get the chance to cast split cards via Sunbird's Invocation, unless one of them has an X in it, because it uses the X that you actually pay for the spell to determine its number. So if you use something that costs red X, and you pay red and 3 to deal 3 damage, like you have Blaze, then you get Sunbird's Invocation for 4.
Gotcha.
Because it uses the mana that you actually cast it with.
Sweet.
Stuff like that is always pretty confusing. So
yeah, but again,
judge it up if you need to.
If you have questions, I will gladly answer them on the YouTube video, because I think that's a great place to get some public answers on this. Shaper Sanctuary, enchantment, single green. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. You draw the card while their spell is in the stack. If you draw a counter spell, you can counter it. It's great.
Nice.
Interesting. Okay.
More chances to respond to stuff. Sorcerous Spyglass. It's a 2-cost artifact. As it enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So first, when you choose a name, you choose something that's legal in the current format. So you can't get hosed by naming a card that's legal in Legacy when you're playing Standard.
Oh, that's good.
If you have questions for it and you don't remember a card name, but you can describe it unambiguously, that's great. If your opponent knows what it is, you're both on the same page, you're good. If your opponent can't figure out what you're saying, call a judge over. A judge will help you figure out what the card name is that you're describing.
It's green.
It on the front of it, it kind of has like it's like a
dude.
It's like a circle.
Yeah.
Of green,
green,
but it's like the circle is made of trees or people.
There's forests
tall,
in
yeah,
the casting
and they're like around something. You
yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways,
with Sorcerous Spyglass, they usually name a card in their hand anyway, so it's just easier.
Yeah.
And note mana abilities are things that make mana. So like treasure, you can't name it because it's not a card name. First of all.
Yeah.
But even if you could name treasure, they could still use the mana ability of treasure. Mana abilities are things that make mana, not things that cost mana.
Sweet.
This is something I see people get confused on, not infrequently.
Well, that's a great list, Rob,
Yeah.
of specific cards from Ixalan that might trip people up at the pre-release. So thank you so much for spelling that out for us. And like you said, of course, if you have questions moving forward, don't be afraid to call a judge. It can be scary at first, but it's so worth it, and they're friendly and they don't bite.
Yeah. We don't answer your questions. We get bored.
Yeah, give them something to do, for crying out loud. Gosh. And now we're gonna do some questions from you all out there in Listenerland. Okay, so thank you to everybody who sent in questions for Judge Rob this episode. At MTA Cast is where you submitted them, as well as our Facebook page, which if you don't like it, you should go over there and check it out, facebook.com/MTA Cast. The first question I'm going to read is from Facebook from Victor. Can you create treasure at instant speed during your upkeep to trigger the alternate win condition on Revel in Riches?
No. So Revel in Riches is black and 4, or 4 and a black, depending on how you read mana cost. It's an enchantment. It says, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure token that does the treasure token thing. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. And so this is a special trigger called an intervening if trigger. I didn't go into detail. We talked about it, one of them actually, without talking about it quite that way earlier. It needs the trigger condition to be true at the time that it goes to trigger, and then also at the time it resolves. If you don't have 10 treasure tokens as you start your upkeep, it won't trigger.
Okay.
So it's very possible they will respond to the trigger and do some shenanigans to get rid of a treasure token, in which case it goes to resolve and does nothing.
Interesting.
All right.
They had a follow-up question. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
Is the character Grimace from McDonald's a chicken nugget?
No, he's a... What is he? Is he a gumdrop?
I thought he just was a frown.
No.
He's like a personified frown.
He's just a sad frown man. He's like a purple... Yeah, he does look like a purple gumdrop. He's certainly not a chicken nugget.
No, I mean... I heard he was something at one point. Now I can't remember what he actually is supposed to be.
Okay, Megan, ask your question. I'm going to
look great drink.
Get into this.
All right. So this person... First, this one we'll just clarify real quick because we talked about it a little bit. The exile trigger after attack from Conqueror's Galleon. I don't understand. Can I use the effect that turn, or does the card return tapped?
So it returns untapped. So Conqueror's Galleon, it's a vehicle that transforms that I talked about.
Yeah.
It's a 4-cost artifact. It's a 2/10 crew 4, which is a really high crew cost. When it attacks, exile it at end of combat, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. This makes it untapped if it was tapped before, unlike most of the things.
Because it goes away, and then it comes back, and it says, well, now that I'm coming back.
Yep. And it turns into Conqueror's Foothold, which is a sweet land that does a bunch of stuff. It draws you cards. It returns cards from your graveyard to your hand. It returns that same turn. It just leaves and comes back right away. That's to clear any damage on it and to make sure that it doesn't come back trying to be animated as a land. From a rules perspective, it would be a creature, but because there's no power toughness printed on Conqueror's Foothold, it would not have any power and toughness. So it'd be a 0/0 and die.
Wow. So it's just making sure it doesn't die.
It's a rules hack to make sure it's clean and it works. It's the one that comes back untapped, basically.
Nice.
Which is pretty sweet.
So yeah, you can use it that same term.
Yep.
Also, by the way, everybody, if you are looking at cards online, we, as always, recommend
Scryfall.
Yeah, strongly recommend Scryfall. It's really good.
Great.
All right, I have an update.
Okay, tell us.
So Grimace is a character, of course, featured in McDonald's commercials. He's a large, purple, anthropomorphic being of indeterminate species with short arms and legs.
Being of indeterminate species.
All right.
That's what I have on my dating profile.
Purple blob.
Purple blob.
Purple
Okay.
blob.
Originally called Evil Grimace. By
I
the way.
have.
So is McDonald's is super progressive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just, it's indeterminate.
Okay.
Can I refer to the Shadowed Caravel as a Ford Explorer, or is that improper mixing of cars and boats?
Well, so Shadowed Caravel doesn't explore. It rewards you for exploring.
Yes.
So, I don't think it's actually an explorer.
There you go.
So you can't.
There's that. They also hashtag
very
that
creative.
with Car Talk.
Oh, hashtag Card Talk.
Hashtag Car Talk.
I have a question here. If Tocata Honor Guard, who we met earlier in this
Yeah.
episode, is in play, preventing ETB enter the battlefield triggers,
Yep.
does that count as countering the trigger? If you have a Panharmonicon, can you choose to keep one of the triggers?
Nope, they don't trigger at all. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. They just don't trigger.
Okay.
Never go on the stack. They don't get a Panharmonicon. They don't get countered. They just don't happen.
Does damage from infect creatures trigger Enrage?
Great question.
That is a great question.
And it's also the same, I would imagine, with Wither, or something like that.
So to look at Sailback that we talked a little bit about earlier, it says, spells it out, whenever snapping Sailback is dealt damage. It doesn't care if that damage resulted in counters or having damage marked on it. It was dealt damage. You can prevent it, just like if you remember playing during Scars of Mirrodin, there are things that prevented damage. They prevented Infect, right?
Gotcha.
And so similarly, snapping Sailback doesn't care what the actual result of that damage is. It just cares that damage was dealt
that
to
it
it.
happened.
Yes.
And
Hey,
putting
game, did damage happen?
Yes.
putting a -1/-1 counter is not the same as getting damage.
Yeah, it's not. So if so there's a bunch of cards from Amonkhet that put -1/-1 counters on things. That isn't damage. That's putting a counter on it.
Gotcha.
It specifically is dealt damage by a creature. That damage just doesn't cause damage to be marked on it. It does something else as a result.
And in Wither's case, it is, instead of damage,
it's half of Infect.
Right.
It deals normal damage to players, but then deals damage in the form of -1/-1 counters to
and so
creatures.
that would count as Enrage.
Yep, that would Enrage and Infect would as well.
Okay.
All right, this is a great question. If I play Arcane Adaptation naming Eldrazi, can I cast Coax from the Blind Eternities on any creature in my sideboard?
Wow. That's a good question. I would think you could.
We're about to find out.
So Coax from the Blind Eternities says you can go get an Eldrazi or something.
Just go get that sucker.
Creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. I don't think that you own creature cards in your sideboard because it's not a game zone.
So Coax from the Blind Eternities, by the way, 2 and a blue for a sorcery from Eldritch Moon. You may choose an Eldrazi card you own from outside the game or in exile, reveal that card and put it into your hand. In this case, it did mean sideboard.
So outside the game isn't a zone, right? Things in game zones are impacted by cards. Things not in game zones generally aren't. So you could, if you have an exiled creature, it gets affected by Arcane Adaptation because it's a creature card you own that isn't on the battlefield. But Coax from the Blind Eternities, so Arcane Adaptation doesn't add types. It doesn't change cards that aren't in game zones. The game zones are, battlefield, hand, graveyard, library, stack. Those are and exile and ante. So these are game zones that exist, but your sideboard isn't in one of those. It's outside of the game, in fact.
Okay.
So the effect from Arcane Adaptation won't touch it.
Herb wants to know if I have exiled the 2-sided card that has been flipped to a land, then bring it back. Will it still be a land, or will it revert to the original state since it's coming back into play?
If you exile it and it doesn't return to the battlefield transformed, so it's
like
possible.
some kind of exile.
Well, the Galleon specifically says it returns transformed. If you exile it and return it not transformed, it comes back as the front face.
Okay.
If you are trying to explore and reveal run aground, must you stop exploring?
I mean, you only explore one card, so
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
You're just done. You're done.
You're
anyways.
done.
Yep.
If you, Joe wants to know, if I exile an opponent's creature, with Hostage Taker, then cast the exiled creature, then Hostage Taker gets removed, does my opponent get anything back?
Yeah, because Hostage Taker is a duration. Exile target artifact or creature until hostage. Oh, you cast the spell. You cast it though.
Yes, they've cast it.
If you cast it, they don't get anything back.
Okay.
Once it leaves exile, Hostage Taker loses track of it.
Okay.
It's not. Where did I
put that hostage?
I put them somewhere, but I cannot for the life of me figure out where.
I need more professional hostages.
I left the gas on too. God darn it.
Turn around. Turn the boat around. We
Turn
gotta go
it
home,
around.
everybody. For Priest of the Awakening Sun, do I reveal a dino from my hand in order to put the trigger on the stack, or when it resolves?
It resolves. So it has an at the beginning of your upkeep trigger that goes in the stack. Your opponent can respond to it, and if they don't, it resolves, and then you get to reveal a dinosaur.
Gotcha.
It usually doesn't matter. You'll usually just flash a dinosaur, like 99 times out of 100. You'd be just like, dinosaur, and then you write 2 life in your life pad.
Matthew wants to know,
Dinosaur.
what is appropriate tokens for treasure tokens? Well, you're going to get some tokens for treasure.
There are treasure tokens.
And you could also use, treasure of your own if you want to bring that to the game store, whatever that means to you. Baby photos, like your pets and loved ones, change from your pocket, all of these things.
So I'm going to actually pitch, if you go into meeplesource.com, Meeplesource, Meeple.
Oh, yeah, like Meeples.
Yeah, like Meeples from board games. Mm-hmm. They will actually sell you coins, like awesome little metallic coins that are intended for use in different games. So that you can just replace your crappy cardboard coins that are in different games with these sweet metal ones.
Oh, that's cool.
They're pretty sweet treasure tokens.
But you got to be able to tap them, right?
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, if you plan to play a deck that inspires using treasure tokens, you're going to need to be able to tap them. Yes. In like most of the time, you're just going to be like, pour a bunch of coins on the battlefield because you spell because you got them.
When you win with Revel Enriches, can I make it rain? Well, I mean, if you want to, but all those dollar bills are now your opponents because you just went with an alternate win condition. You jerk. Here we go. Question from Jen.
I want to jump backwards.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Please don't use dollar bills as treasure tokens.
Oh, okay.
Because we're in the middle of a game. I go and pull up my wallet and start laying out dollar bills on the table.
Yeah, that probably looks really bad.
Yeah, that probably looks really bad. That's fair.
Don't do it. Like, it sounds really awesome. It sounds really neat.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Especially if you're at a Grand Prix and you start laying out dollar bills in front of your opponent on the table.
You'd be like, I was just making treasure tokens.
Sure you were.
Okay, buddy.
Sure you were.
Yeah. I recommend against this course of action.
Jen wants to know, if a dinosaur is crewing a pirate ship, how does he tie the ropes?
It depends on what kind of dinosaur, I would say.
Let's say T-Rex.
Badly?
I've got this, you guys. Look, I've got it.
Look at me, got it.
Don't try and help me.
I'm getting it.
I can do it.
Bruce wants to know, am I correct in stating that the new Jace remains legendary, however would not be removed because tokens he creates are non-legendary, thus although the tokens have the same name as the legendary permanent, the permanent remains?
Yep.
Yes.
So both objects have to be legendary for the legend rule to apply. So if you end up somehow with something a legendary card that shares a name with a non-legendary card, you don't care because legend rule applies to 2 legendary permanents.
Yeah.
Cool.
And final question here from Henrik. If there is a pirate hat as an equipment, what should it do and how cute would it be on a cat? Great question. First of all, super cute on a cat.
Also, this mechanic is not relevant anymore, but in my mind, it would give a creature shadow.
Oh, yeah, because you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I think it would be equipped creature as a pirate.
Okay.
First of all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It's very true.
And then it would say, whenever equipped creature attacks, pirates you control get +1/+0 until end of turn.
Okay. Mine is
unblockable.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It'd probably say equipped creature can't be blocked.
It can't be blocked. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what would happen
here.
I like what we've done here.
And it would
I'm happy with
be
it.
very cute on a cat.
It would be so
very
cute. Thank you for all your questions. And of course, you can ask more if more have come up during this episode for you by heading to our YouTube page, youtube.com/MTAcast. The video will post Thursday morning, and Rob will head over there and check those out. And they can also tweet at you or send you an email if they have more questions, right?
I prefer email because then I'll go in depth on stuff.
Do the email.
With 140 characters, oftentimes I'll have to cut down all my words to be like card work good, but no work here.
All right, what's your email that people can reach you at?
Robbit, that's ROBBIT @gmail.com.
Fabulous.
Perfect.
Hey everybody, it's time for the segment you look forward to more than any other segment on Magic the Amateuring, Cutest Card and Grossest Card.
They wade through all of my rules text to get to this.
Fast forward. Cutest Card, Grossest Card. Okay, yes.
Our Grossest Card is a giant house centipede. I didn't know what house centipedes were until I moved to Minnesota.
Oh boy.
There was one in my closet, and I screamed. I ran out of the room, and I made my roommate come back and deal with it. It is Skittering Heartstopper.
He's got a mustache.
Oh, God.
Made of, like, mandibles.
No.
Yuck! No,
He's
thank
got
you,
1 million legs,
ma'am.
and I'm over it. Not here for your 1 million legs, Skittering Heartstopper. Nope, hard pass.
All right, Judge Rob, can you scroll down for me
Your scaly little
to remember
back.
to remember the other card names that we were going through? So,
Oh, yeah.
This is a card that I get on my soapbox about pushing the cute cards. Like my cute cards have to be organically cute. They just
you
happen
can't
to be
have
cute.
creep up in here.
I don't want cute to be shoved up in my face like a raptor hatchling. I'm looking at you.
Yep.
Like you're cute and adorable, whatever, but they're trying too hard. Okay.
You heard it.
So you are not in my consideration for Cutest Card, even though
Wow.
you're kind of cute. Okay.
Wow.
What was it? Dinosaur Stampede, definite runner up.
Oh, I'm already a little mad.
Pew!
They're just
like
a bunch of running dinosaurs.
they're just running and taking a little jump.
Go.
Boing. Ancient Brontodon, adorable. It's a
Very
9/9.
cute.
Just
Very
being its cute little self. But my cutest card for this set is actually a white card, which is a dinosaur. And it was one when I first saw it. It was kind of like, love at first sight. I saw it early and it just captured my heart. Bellowing Aegiosaur.
What?
If you remember this card.
We're all surprised.
Yeah, shocking revelation.
Oh, he is dancing.
he's very
He's going up on his hinders and he's going.
That is a really interesting interpretation of the noise that dinosaurs make.
What do you think he's saying?
Ah!
Either way, there's your crown. Bellowing Aegiosaur for Ixalan, Cutest Card, Grossest Card, Skittering Heartstopper.
Yep.
Well, everybody, that's this episode of Magic the Amateuring. Thank you so much to Judge Rob for coming and spreading knowledge.
You're welcome.
Like a bunch of peanut butter on the bread that we are.
We are bread.
I actually would
bread.
have made you English muffins in that metaphor if I was doing it.
Thank you. Wait, no, I don't like English muffins.
What do you want?
You're
What kind of bread
objectively wrong.
type do you want to be?
Biscuits. I want to be a biscuit.
With peanut butter on it?
Yeah.
I would eat that. Peanut butter biscuit? Yeah.
No.
I want to be cinnamon raisin toast.
With peanut butter on it?
Absolutely.
Actually, no. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Wow.
Peanut butter and raisins are a great combo.
About that.
What am I?
Megan just goes into a deep thought hole about what kind of bread
Can I
she
be
is.
like a cinnamon and sugar bagel?
I mean, that wouldn't be terrible.
We're getting really picky.
Either way, Rob is the knowledge of peanut butter to the bread that we are. So thank you
The knowledge of peanut butter.
for helping us out.
I don't have peanut butter for you. I have simply telling you about peanut butter so that you know.
Yes,
I have the knowledge of peanut butter.
it's true. What you do is you get toast, and while it's real hot, you put the peanut butter on it, then you put hot bacon on it.
What? Okay, that sounds good.
that does sound
That's
good.
The
really
oil
good.
rises out, and then yeah, it's great.
There you go, everybody.
Well, thank you again to everybody who is a member of our Patreon supporters club. The Less Than 1% Club is the Best Than 1% Club. Patreon.com/MTAcast. You keep the lights on for us, just like Motel 6.
What?
Motel 6?
Mattel 6.
Motel 6. I'll leave the light on for you. I'm Tom Bodette.
What? Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
And
Thanks.
Card Kingdom, of course, for being the sponsor of this great and crazy show and helping us live the dream of bringing our nonsense to you every single week.
You're really it.
You are it.
You're it.
Check back with us next week to find out how we did at our pre-releases. We'll have some story times for you, no doubt.
I look forward to the stories.
Oh, good.